afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime Cafe. Today we had to push our program further because we had another program which we need to accommodate. But however, we are back on the Lunchtime Cafe. I'm Patrick Soko, and today we have an interesting interview on the program. And today we are honored to host people coming from St. Bonaventure University, and they are going to help us talk about the World Philosophy Day. Have you heard about that? Well, we are going to be delving more in details later on the program, but in studio I've been joined by Mr. Peter Morigwa. He is a lecturer, as well as Cornelius Mulenga, a lecturer too, and Nyaga Euphrentus, a student from St. Bonaventure University. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Interesting enough, I'm wondering to say, why did you do a gender balance? Does it mean that most philosophers are men?
Our university is actually for men.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. That speaks for you indeed, and thank you very much. Now, to just get started, we have an interesting discussion today, which is ahead of World Philosophy Day. This day will be coming on Friday, but we have to understand this day, what this day is all about. So just get started. First of all, I'll start with Mr. Peter to just help us first of all define what is philosophy in general.
On that one,
You take it up.
Take that.
We can take it up, Mr.
Okay. Thank you very much. Philosophy, literally, it is the love of wisdom. Okay, but in a broad sense, philosophy is an activity mostly when they seek to understand fundamental questions about themselves, about the world, and the relationship that they have with the world and that they have to themselves. Okay, that's in the broad sense. Again, we can say that philosophy has four major important branches of philosophy. I'll start with metaphysics. Metaphysics, it is the branch of philosophy that deals with the nature of the reality of what exists in the world. Okay, that is the definition of metaphysics. It is at this point where we try to understand, looking at on this world, we can see that we may reach to ask questions like, what actually is happening? Is there a God? That's the first question. Okay. The other question that we can ask is there a truth? Okay. So another question may come in to say, what is a person? Okay. But the fundamental question that we ask is the world composed of matter, or there are other things that we can mention? So in this branch, these are some of the questions that we really ask in this metaphysical point of view. Then we move on to another aspect, that is epistemology. Episteme, that is in Greek version, which means that knowledge. Okay, so epistemology, it is the study of knowledge. Okay, how do you know about the world? How do you know things that are in the world? So the first question that we ask there is, what is knowledge? Okay, that is the first question. What is knowledge? Then the other question that is quite important is if maybe they can ask you to say, do you really know anything at all? So it's by that question that now you try to shape if you know something in this world, which is a very, very important question. Then we move on to another part, that is ethics. I think ethics is common to even to other universities. They study that in mostly in social sciences. Okay, when you talk about ethics, we come to understand, or ethics is concerned with what we ought to do and how it would be, or it might be best to do. Okay, so it is in ethics where we ask questions to say what is good. Okay, it is in ethics where we ask questions: is this action or person good or not? It is in ethics where we ask questions to say, is this action right or not? Okay, but the main important question that we ask in ethics is morality objective or subjective? Okay, so you need to ponder those questions that can lead you to even understand what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. Okay, then the last part is the part of logic. I think you have heard about this term logic, or this aspect of philosophy called logic. Logic is basically based on arguments and reasoning. Okay, so the first question that we can ask there is, what constitutes good or bad reasoning? Okay, the other question that we can ask there is, what determines whether a piece of a given reasoning is good or bad? Because as you can see in this contemporary society, we are in that line of reshaping even what is bad to be good. Okay, so it is in logic where we understand really what is good or what is reason good or bad. Okay, so I think roughly that is the what I can say in the definition of philosophy in general. Thank you.
Would you want to add to what Mr. Mlenga has provided?
Basically, if I may add it, philosophy has one aspect that is peculiar to it only. It is the only discipline that is quite open, such that it will tackle any discipline in any angle. I might say it has no limits. So if we are to ask ourselves, to what extent do we say this is a philosophical thing? Philosophy has no limits. Why? Because as he has given the 4 disciplines, you will realize that you will not come to a place and say, no, we can't handle this. Let me give you an example. There are these disciplines that you say, if you want to study about God and you are dealing with theology, you say we can't know God is far beyond us. But philosophy is that body that encompasses all knowledge. And that is why, by definition, you will say that it is that search of the knowledge in its ultimate principles and causes. All right? It has no limit. Not like in science, where you want to get things at their proximate causes. You move, you have no limits. You expand your limits, and you cover everything that is possible.
Interesting. What do you want to add?
Yeah, I think I may derive my point from the etymological definition of what philosophy is. My brother here said philosophy is love of wisdom. But then what do we mean when we are talking about wisdom? When we talk about wisdom, wisdom is different from knowledge. An important aspect of wisdom is the knowledge that somebody does not know. Most of the time people think that they know when they do not know. But with wisdom that we study in philosophy, we study to know that we do not know. And when we do not know, what does that mean? It means that we search or we pursue for knowledge. The knowledge that we have, we know that is not enough. So we pursue more knowledge. That's what philosophy is about. And seeking to know reality, we seek to know about the reality and the difference between that reality and the appearance. Sometimes we think we know something when actually it is not the case. For example, how do we distinguish between someone who is dreaming and someone who is awake? In most cases, what you dream about is something that you can actually do even when you are awake. But how do you draw the difference between that? So philosophers sometimes they say, then there is no knowledge. We can't know that we know. Because sometimes we are dreaming, sometimes we are hallucinating, and so we don't know exactly what it is that is true and what is false. So that's how philosophy seeks its knowledge. And it is concerned about nearly everything. When you talk about other disciplines that people learn, some other sciences, they take only a portion of what they study. Medicine, for example, they concentrate on that. That's what they want to know. But with the philosophy, it actually accommodates or comprises all these other sciences within itself. So its main task is actually to know everything. It's the study of beings. And what do we mean by beings? It's nearly everything. And in the branches that my brother talked about, there is metaphysics, there is epistemology, there is ethics, there is logic. Each one of them actually goes deeper into trying to understand its subject matter. When you talk about logic, for example, how do we reason logically? Arguments must be comprised with premises and conclusion, and sometimes our conclusion fail to be supported by the premises. And when that happens, we have what are called fallacies. That is a fallacious kind of reasoning. And if we are not careful enough, people might win their arguments against us by using fallacies. But philosophers are there to observe and identify when these arguments are fallacious and to refute to accept that kind of argument.
Interesting enough. Now, I want to bring you closer to what we'll be commemorating on Friday, the World Philosophy Day. What is this day all about, Mr. Moon?
This day was actually celebrated in 2002 by UNESCO, and they were celebrated, I think, somewhere in the 21st of November, but we are celebrating on the third Thursday of November each year. Okay, it is at this point where by celebrating the World Philosophy Day, UNESCO underlines the enduring value of philosophy, okay, for understanding of the human thoughts in his own culture and also on the part of the individual. As you know, that philosophy is an inspiring discipline, okay, as well as an everyday practice that can turn or transform societies, okay. For example, we can say by enabling to discover the diversity of the intellectual current in this world, philosophy actually stimulates the intercultural dialogue, okay. Then you can even point, there's another point saying, by awakening the mind to the exercises of thinking and the reasoned confrontation of opinions, philosophy builds more tolerant and more respectful society. Okay, so thus helps to understand and also to respond to major contemporary challenges. Okay, so roughly that is where now the World Philosophy Day is all about.
Sir, just bring me up to speed first of all. How has this day been celebrated in this country in the past? and people are beginning to appreciate this day.
Yeah, actually, we as St. Bonaventure University have taken it upon ourselves as a philosophical institution to celebrate this day, and this should be our third or fourth celebration of this day, except for last year when we did not celebrate.
What happened?
There were just some challenges that we faced and we could not make it. But otherwise, before that, 2020, that is 2021, 2020, we were actually celebrating these days. At one point, we celebrated it at Mulungushi International Conference.
That was 2020.
And we had the Minister of Education there. He was there to bless the day, and it went on very well. In most cases, when we celebrate this day, we want to make an awareness of what philosophy is all about to the populace, so that they know what philosophy is about. And we also take some issues, some contemporary issues that will be there at that time. Like the other year, we took the COVID-19 to be the theme of our day, and we had some written presentations that were writing to see how philosophy actually contributes to issues to the issues that we have in the current society. So we talked about those things, and we also have some kind of dramas, some poems, and for that year we had a debate with the Cavendish University. We had a debate which were actually trying to show the importance of vaccination. Is it important that people are vaccinated or not? So one side was saying it is important that people are vaccinated. The other one was saying no, it is not. So those are the issues that we were talking about. So philosophy actually, when we are celebrating the World Philosophy Day, we look at the issues that are threatening our human society and try to find some kind of solutions to them. This is how it has been celebrated. And I think it's something that is an ongoing thing. Even for now, we are also looking at the same kind of aspects. What are the pressing issues at the moment? This time, the issue that is being talked about so much is of the climate change and environmental protection. And I think, as you probably know, we have taken that to be our theme of that day.
Interesting. Well, dear viewers, in case you're just joining us in studio, I have with me lecturers and students from St. Bonaventure University, and we are discussing issues pertaining to philosophy ahead of the World Philosophy Day. In case you want to ask the question to our guest, you can do so and engage via the number that is on your screen there, so that you can ask him a question, one or two, pertaining to our topic of discussion, and that's bordering on philosophy. And moving on, first of all, I want to get your perspective pertaining to, first of all, what role does philosophy play in issues of environmental protection and climate change, looking that you are focusing on climate change this year, and this is really affecting us, and many people are now beginning to appreciate the devastating effects of climate change now. How does philosophy blend in terms of our climate change issues?
Well, philosophy, as further explained by my professors here, is a discipline that is quite broad, that is not limited. In that way, it will cover basically everything we have. Let's say now, like the thing we have in question, we are trying to cover this aspect. We have environmental degradation, we have climatic change. So how is philosophy relevant to that? Why don't we use any other body to deal with that issue? And this is where philosophy comes in because of its remediateness. Let's say, for example, what common people will say is that philosophy, if you want to make the environment better, the first thing you will tell you, go plant trees, okay? Deforestation is killing our environment. But it is philosophy that to critically analyze each and every step, each and everything that you want to do. I will come in and ask you, what kind of tree do you want to plant? Where do you want to plant it? Why do you want to plant it that way? Why this type? Why not this type? Have you considered the effects? So philosophy does inquire into things. Interestingly enough is that philosophy will go on inquiring until ultimately we have the best solution ever. So as a tool for dealing with the climatic changes that are brought by environmental degradation, philosophy comes out as the best tool to handle this because one, it will probe into everything. We have a principle that we say that every effect has a cause. So philosophy will come and say, what is the cause of the environmental degradation that we are experiencing now? Analyze them. Then what are the possible solutions? What can we do? What are the impacts that we are having? What is the best way that we can be able to do right now to, to cater for the environmental change that we have now and even in the future? So it is only philosophy, and I insist, only philosophy that will not limit itself to one area. So therefore, it becomes the best tool to handle this problem.
We have a caller. Let me just keep this call. Hello, you are through to the Lunchtime Cafe. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, may we have your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is James. I'm calling from Rwanda.
James, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so I've been listening to what the philosophers are talking about. I just wanted to find out how does the philosophy relate to Christianity? Because I heard you saying that you know that you don't know that you don't know.
Okay.
There are other issues that in the Bible are not revealed. How do we relate to, how do philosophers relate to that? And also, how can we identify and train children in school to start to think or to become, to start to tap into the idea of philosophy?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. Well, the questions are quite tricky. One of the questions, I know you are able to handle them. One of them is how does philosophy relate to Christianity? And the other question is how do we identify this philosophy and make sure that children in schools are able to take up this? I think that's what is referring to. So who is going to start to respond to that?
I'll take that up.
You can take it.
At the moment, basically philosophy is done at higher education, and that is here in Zambia, and is not being taught at the primary or secondary school. And as philosophers and who have seen actually the importance of this discipline, we are advocating and try to promote philosophy. And we are on our way to try to introduce it into the primary schools. That is the road that we are trying to take. So the efforts are being made so that philosophy can also be taught in the primary or secondary schools. So if someone is now going to proceed to go to the tertiary level and want to proceed with the philosophy, they will have some basics of philosophy than you going for philosophy without anything. The relationship between philosophy and religion. Actually, most of the people that are studying philosophy are those that are preparing for studying theology. It's actually like a preparation for theology. You cannot understand about God without your mind having been cultivated into the proper way of thinking. So philosophy makes you a better thinker, and even you will understand about God better after you have done philosophy, because philosophy uses its own natural ability to study whatever it is studying. So your mind has been cultivated and prepared for the knowledge, the higher knowledge, like the knowledge of God. So basically, philosophy is very, very important in religion, because the religion might actually tell you that about God. God exists, but it does not have some kind of arguments and proof about the existence of God. But philosophy asks questions. I think the the one who have asked the question there have actually said, how do we relate that to religion when you are saying you know that you don't know? The fact that I don't know pushes me to want to know more.
Okay.
That's how I know more about God.
All right. We have another caller. You are through to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
May we have your name and where you are calling us from? You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes, sir. We are enjoying the program.
Thank you.
We want to understand what is the significance of philosophy to society. If at all that is important, how does it tend to work out, tend to improve the lives of people? Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Well, you too can join the conversation in case you want to ask the question to our guest this afternoon. Now, moving on, there is another question, and I want you to take it up.
Thank you very
he's
much.
asking to say, what is the significance of philosophy to society? How do people relate to this? I think this is an important.
Thank you.
How do you simplify it for us?
Thank you very much. Like just the definition of philosophy itself, in a broad sense, I said earlier on that there is one point in ethics where you're supposed to know things, where you ought to do, and what would be the best to do it. All those things you find where? In the society. It is in the society where we apply issues. Have I done right or wrong? What is wrong with me? Okay. So, if you reach to that point of asking those kind of questions, you are a philosopher already. In logic, is where now we say, is my reasoning right or wrong? Okay. So, it is basically important for the development of the human thoughts in our society. So I can even say that it is the pillar for us to move on in our society. Philosophy is the pillar of all. Because philosophy handles the social point of view, economic point of view, and also political point of view. Okay, so that's what I can say.
Interesting enough. Now, let me move to my next question. What can people expect when it comes to tomorrow, ahead of this day?
On Friday.
On Friday. Yeah, sorry. What should people expect on Friday? What is going to be happening? Or what if people want to join in or understand more about this subject we are having today about philosophy? How can they take part? How can they get involved? You can pick it up first.
Thank you. So, in a simple statement, I will say that come hungry. Come hungry, you'll be fed. Why? Because on this day is the day that we want to combine all the philosophical knowledge we have, all the thoughts we have, and channel them into the best way on how we can cater on the theme of the day, which is how to deal with environmental degradation and the climate change. So, what are the activities that will be happening in there? In case of our viewers and listeners and anyone who is interested. You see the way you have charity walks for a certain theme that you're walking. In the same way, we shall begin the day with a philosophical walk. We have a certain point we shall have a walk that is actually aimed at sensitizing people, like a campaign telling people the importance of philosophy and its key role and how it can help us to tackle with this problem of environmental degradation. Then inside our institution is where we have, let's say, a big hive of activities. Okay, we have presentations, we shall have talks, we shall have poems, we shall have talks, and then the cardinal one is that we have a philosophical debate. What is this debate? I know you are Christian. There is this passage in the Bible that says, how can I restore that which I have not taken? Okay, so in the same way, people are asking, in this issue of environmental degradation, we as Africans, statistics have revealed that we have contributed the least into environmental degradation. So are we actually even responsible? Are we actually supposed to even take any part? So they are saying, the motion says that this movement towards environmental, like making it better, is not actually relevant in the African context. And we have a debate now because we shall say we need steps. It is a fact that we as Africans face the worst effects of the things that we didn't do. We didn't cause, but we face the fact. So, do we have a role play? Yes. How will that be captured in that debate?
So, what are the questions for the proposers and the opposers?
Wow. I'll keep that for you so that you join.
Looking forward to joining. Looking forward to that debate. Indeed. But you know, there is another aspect, because let's also talk about the sustainability of this program. My other question comes to you, Professor. What are your plans for the future of UNESCO World Philosophy Day in Zambia? Are we going to commemorate it tomorrow and we ban it, or you have better plans on how we should grow big, and what partnership are you going to seek to forge to make sure that this day is well commemorated?
Yeah, actually, we have very big plans for the World Philosophy Day, and this is why we are actually even here. It's in the bid to promote the same day, to make it a bit more publicized than before. Before, I think when we did the publicity, it was like one person just went, and we had only one TV channel that broadcasted it. But this time around, we have involved more, so that we reach far. That is actually our plans, and we are also. We also want to make it a national kind of day, so that almost everyone, not only people in Lusaka, for example, but everyone in all the provinces will come to know about it, especially those that are stakeholders in philosophy. We want them to take part. With UNESCO, we were actually discussing on the formation of an association called PASI, which will look into issues to do with this day, so that when it comes to arranging for the celebration of the day, we have an association that stands for specifically for that. So we are actually thinking big for our World Philosophy Day, and this is actually because we have seen how important philosophy is, especially in addressing the challenges that we face in our day-to-day life.
Well, we would have loved to go on and on discussing World Philosophy Day, but we'll also leave the rest for Friday, so that you can come and listen for yourself, and just to get interacted with philosophers and get to learn more on the day. But before, gentlemen, I let you go, let me get your winding remarks.
Okay, for you to come to Bonaventure University, you know, there is Kafua Road. There's first roundabout, second roundabout, the third roundabout. That is Linda roundabout. So instead of going to Kafue, you turn to the right side. You know, you just move some meters there, then you see the signpost, St. Bonaventure University, then you turn to the right. That's where we are. Actually, we want people to understand the importance of philosophy. That's what we want, because we really know that philosophy is everything. We really know that philosophy revamp our mind. Philosophy revamp our thinking. So philosophy is everything, and that's what we want. Thank you very much.
I just want to encourage our listeners to look forward to something very big on Friday, especially concerning the talks that we are going to have. There will be some presentations from the University of Zambia. We have Zema that are also going to present something, and we have got our own lecturers from St. Bonaventure University who are going to have some presentation. And so, if you want to understand more about climate change and environmental degradation, please, that is the day that you should not miss.
Thank you.
So to end up, I would say that philosophy is one of the best disciplines that I can encourage, not only here in Zambia but all over, that as you mentioned, they should actually be taught even at the lower levels of education. Why? Because with philosophy you can create a population that can think critically, systematically and logically. So on that day we shall open avenues, we shall demonstrate to people what is supposed to be done, what is the use of philosophy, how can it help us address this problem we have at hand. You heard that last time we were discussing COVID-19, this time we are discussing environmental change. So philosophy is a tool that can handle, I would want to dare, every kind of circumstance that comes around. So I encourage everyone, come hungry, like I said, you will be fed. There's a lot of things to know, come with a lot of appetite. Thank you.
You have to be categorical when you say you'll be fed. You'll be fed with knowledge.
With knowledge. Thank you.
We'll come to it.
You are a philosopher.
Thank you. Well, there you have it. We've been having a wonderful conversation there with a representative representatives from St. Bonaventure University, and in studio I was joined by Mr. Peter Morigwa, a lecturer, as well as Mr. Cornelius Mulenga, a lecturer too, and Nyaga Euventus, a student, and they helped me discuss this important subject of philosophy. So start taking an interest, go even on Google, type philosophy, you start learning about philosophy, because philosophy is everything that we do according to what they have stated. And I'm beginning to believe, because I know now that there's the metaphysics of it, the epistemology, the ethics, and the logical part of it. And we have to make sure that we apply this knowledge to make sure that it creates a significance in our society. This has been Patrick Soko. Until next time when we come with the Lunchtime Cafe, stay tuned. Keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel.